So I found a little time, so I tried to put this together as quick as possible because I thought it was important. I guess over the last about 5 years, myself personally.
Cool, you was assistant?
Oh, okay. Let me get up there. HCA. So you all know the Harbaugh Coaching Academy is here in Bradenton tonight, which is a big time. I advise every single one of you guys to make sure you guys go follow them. If you're a football coach, you need to make sure you follow HCA. Great info for you guys. You can learn a lot of that. But like I was saying, my last 5 years at Taggart, I've been what can I do back home? What can I come back home and do? You know, for a long time, I always wanted to do something I didn't know what to do, but I want to do something that's going to be sustainable, that's going to make a difference. And, I said I wouldn't ever do it until I commit to doing it and do it the right way. You know, so here lately I've been doing a lot of research back home, and thinking of things to do. We started after school program at Lincoln, which I think is going to be a big time thing for us. It's really important to me. And this part is all these things that we're doing now, that's probably the main part of it. And the after school program at Lincoln, that's something, it's not school. You know, it's something where our kids can learn some things, learn how to make some money, you know what I mean, learn how to do a lot of creative things. You know, they know social media and all that, but they really don't know how to use it. They put pictures and all that on there, but let's put some pictures that can make us some money. Let's find ways to do that. So in programming, we got music recording, you know what I mean, you know, all of them will rap, all of them know every song to a rap song or whatever out there, and tell you something about school, and they're like, I don't know, coach, you know, so let's find a different way of teaching them. So we're going to find different ways of doing that for our kids. Financial literacy, another one of our programs, which I think is so important, not just for our kids, but adults as well. And come the fall, we're going to have that class for our adults, you know, so which I think is huge for all of us to continue to learn that part. But that's part of the programming things that we're doing at Lincoln. And then I wanted to build like a community center back here for everyone, not just our youth, but for everyone. You know, I look around here, I look over at the Lincoln Park, which is nice. One of the nice things they've done for us around here in Palmetto, Lincoln Park. This hotel is pretty nice here in Palmetto, right? So they're like, why can't we have a nice community center around here too for everybody? So that's something dear to me that I really want to get done. You know, our kids have a lot of things to do outside, but I don't see anything inside for them to go and be a part of. And again, good programming that's going to help our youth be better. That's big to me. And then I thought about me, my journey, and kind of how I got here. You know, and for me, probably started in Bel Air. A lot of y'all remember Bel Air Apartments uptown, Palmetto. Started there, then it went to Oakwood. Oakwood is kind of where it really came. It got around in Oakwood, you know, and then we moved over out to Newtown, you know. But for me, when all of this started, when I was in Oakwood, and my team, a lot of my friends used to come home on their bikes from football practice. They used to have their gear and everything from the Palmetto Eagles. I was like, man, Mom, I want to play for the Eagles. Well, I ain't got no money for you to play for the Eagles. You know, so, Mom, I want to play for the Eagles. Well, I ain't got no money. So, a good friend of ours, Demetrius Dunbar, a lot of y'all know Demetrius. Demetrius actually paid for me to play football. You know, I think it was $25 at the time, and she had allowance, and I told her I really wanted to play football, and she gave me $25 to sign up to play for the Palmetto Eagles. I tell me to this day, she helped start that journey, you know, but that's where it started for me with Palmetto Eagles. And had a chance to play there, and as I was growing up, playing with the Eagles, the team you wanted to go to in high school was Manatee High School, you know, so at least for me and a lot of my teammates wanted to go play at Manatee High School for that guy back there, Joe Kinnan, you know, and I got the blessing to be able to go and play high school football at Manatee High School with a lot of great players. And you talk about football and life lessons that you learn just going there. For me, going to Manatee, I learned how to win. You know, I knew how to play football, but I didn't really understand how to play, didn't understand the game, didn't understand how to win. And playing for Coach Kinnan, you was gonna learn how to win. You know, and he taught us all how to win. And not only that, you're gonna learn how to compete. Because you're gonna have some of the best of the best. And for myself, I was fortunate to play for one of the best football players that ever played the game. One of the best high school players, one of the best college players. If it wasn't for health, he would have been one of the best NFL players. That's Tommy Frazer. I know Tommy's around here, he's somewhere here, but I had the honor of playing behind him, and not only playing behind him, but learning from behind Tommy. And I say all that to, when you talk about compete, you know what I mean? I learned how to win with Coach, you know what I mean? We had great players that you had to learn how to compete, but I really learned how to be a big-time competitor playing behind Tommy. I can remember one game, Tommy got hurt. It was my sophomore. I think it was Bradenton we were playing. And I had to start. Again, I'm a sophomore. I think I was the first sophomore quarterback to play for the coach, start for that game. And it was a district game. And I was scared. I was scared. But it was a good scare. You know, and went out and had a good game and we won. And I was feeling myself. Sitting there by the locker and then the newspaper and everybody standing over by me talking to him. I'm like, man, I'm the man, right? And I remember it was just like Tommy walked by and Tommy's like, don't get used to that, I'll be back next week. And again, I said, I learned then, like, no matter what, man, you gotta work to be the best. And then like Tommy taught me then, like, again, no matter what, you gotta keep competing. He wasn't gonna allow me to take his job. You know, and I tell young people now, that's your job to do, is go take the next man's job. You know, and I learned that being at Manatee, I learned that playing behind Tommy, and I really think those things helped me along my way as a player in college. You know, when I went to Western Kentucky University. Okay, this story gets a little long, so I know it's my thing, so I can have as much time I want right now. So went to Manatee High School, junior, became a starter. We won the state championship. That was big time in there. And then senior year, we went back to state. Didn't do so well in that game, but had a heck of a career at Manatee. Just talking about winning championships, friends, the friends that you got a chance to meet. That was big in my growth. It really helped me when I went off to Western Kentucky University, where I had a chance to play with John and Jim's dad, Jack Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was the one that recruited me to play for WKU, and I tell everyone to this day, that when my whole life changed. When Jim Harbaugh came into my life and recruited me, everything changed about me, the way I thought of things, the way I thought about doing things. Kind of person I wanted to be. It was game changing for me, you know. First of all, being Barry Oldwood and you got an NFL player come to Palmetto to recruit you to play for his dad. You know, he was playing for the Chicago Bears at the time. And I remember he said, I'm gonna come visit you and your family, and told my mom and dad, and God bless them, being my dad. I said, Dad, what do we do, man? Don't take him up to Speedies. Right? And he's like, all right, I'm not going to take him up to speed. I'm not going to do it. We can't do it, Dad. We can't have him on ESPN and stuff. So Jim come visit me, and guess what Dad did? Take him up to speed. You know, they up to speed, throwing the football around, and Jim just to make himself at home. And he said we became the best of friends. Jim, best man at my wedding, and played for his dad, and now I'm coaching for his brother John. They're all great people, man. Playing for Jack Harbaugh, just especially in my younger years as a team, really helped me define myself as not just as a player, but me wanting to be a coach, me wanting to be a great father, me wanting to be a great husband. I learned all that from Jack Harbaugh, you know, and I look at it, he He has 3 kids. He has 2 boys and a girl. I have 2 boys and a girl. You know, and he used to tell them every day, attack this day with enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And my kids get the same thing every day. You know, just want to be like him. You know, and I say all that because I think mentoring is so important. And I had great mentors along the way to help me, you know, and so it's really important to me to come back and give back and be a great mentor because I do know and I know that it'll make a difference in everyone's life. I think we all can use a mentor, you know. So I say all that because that's what football brought to me. It brought a lot of great people in my life. It helped me to find what I wanted in life. You know, everything about me is what football has something to do with it. You know, it has something to do with it, and that's why I respect the game so much. You know what I mean? A lot of people like football. Not everybody loves football. You know what I mean? Not everybody respects the game of football. You know, and I think that's what needs to be done a lot more, is respecting the game of football because of what it's done for all of us. Again, I just think about the people I've met. I would have never met them people if it weren't for football. You know what I mean? I think about my wife. If it weren't for football, I wouldn't have got it. You know, I had to do something to get attention. You know what I mean? Score some touchdowns in the paper, got attention a little bit. So football did that. You know, my kids, I wouldn't have my kids if it weren't for that. Some of my friends wouldn't have that. The coaches that I know, I wouldn't have that because if it weren't for football. You know, the life I get to live now, I wouldn't have it if it weren't for football. You know, so for me, football is everything. You know, I would never cheat the game. You know, and for me to do this and come back and be a part of it, I want to give back not only to you all, but I want to give back to football. And I want to help somebody help me. So I appreciate you all coming out here tonight. I think this is big. You know, as I started to come back and get the palm out of the eagle back, I've been asked a lot of questions about just youth football in the area. And the one thing I keep hearing is, man, we just don't have no good coaches in youth football. We don't have this, or guys, they all about competition and all that. Nobody's developing this. I just hear all these excuses, but nobody's doing anything about it. You know, so I have 3 things that I live by. I live by, that's just who I am, and I tell everybody. And that's blame no one, make no excuses, do something. I pride myself on not making an excuse for me not getting done whatever it is I want to get done. I pride myself on not blaming anybody else for not getting some shit done. You know, I think we live in this world, we live in a do something world. You do something, you get something. To me, it's that simple. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And so I pride myself on not doing those things. So me coming back here, not blaming anybody. No, I want to do something about it. So I want to put on a clinic, you know, to where we can teach some things that we all can get better. We all can learn. That's the beauty of football. You never stop learning, you know, and really all you learn is ways to teach. We all know ball. Sometimes you learn from somebody else a different way of teaching. That's some good stuff for you, you know, and I think it's a great opportunity. But not only with that, when we talk about the youth and learning ball, but to me, that relationship between the youth coaches and the high school coaches, that's got to be better. You know what I mean? Why not? We have some of the best athletes in this area. The best athletes in this area. And for me, it's like, if we're serious about doing right by the kid, why don't we unite and do what's right for the kids? You know what I mean? And probably, and a big part of that is we have to continue to develop as coaches if we want our kids to develop. You know, we can't stop developing. Again, I've been coaching all these years, I still don't know it all. I'm learning every day. It's great, I got new jobs. I'm around some new coaches, I'm learning some new ideas. And I'm stealing everything from them, because next time I go and do something, I'm gonna use that too. That's what we do as coaches. You know, so having this, it's just not Willie Taggart coming back and doing this. No, this all of us. You know what I mean? I wish we had more, and hopefully come next year as we start this get bigger and better for our area here in the 941 and building this thing. You know, but we got to get out of that. I don't want the coach to go over there because I don't want him to try to get no coaches with the Eagles. I don't want no players coming over to the camp. It's like, are we serious? Are we serious with that? I was shocked when I heard all this. You know, I mean, this is a free clinic. Free. If it's free, it's for me. You know, this is a free clinic for everyone. You know, why wouldn't you be a part of it? You know, and that's what, to me, that's what we got to be better. And that's what you hear me always say, let's get better together. You know what I mean? So as we continue, no matter what team you're on, you know what I mean, we got to continue to develop as coaches if we want our players to develop. You know, you can't stop learning. You know what I mean? To me, that's what it's all about. We got that competition part's gonna come, but we got to develop these kids. You know what I mean? And be a better football player, fundamentally, technical. We got to do those things. You just can't just throw them out there and run them into each other. No, there are better ways of doing things. You know what I mean? So learning those ways and doing things and making it better for you and your team, to me, it's gonna make this entire area better. Like I said, there's a ton of players out here, a ton of athletes. To me, we should be focused on making this area the best in the state of Florida. You hear about that South Florida football down there a lot. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good football players in this area. There's a lot of good coaches in this area. You know what I mean? And I say this too. There's some coaches here, some smart coaches that know some ball. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you aspire to be a nice head high school coach? Why wouldn't you aspire to be a nice college coach? Why wouldn't you aspire to be a nice NFL coach? There's no more. You can't sit and say you can't do it no more. You know what I mean? You can make this. To me, people that make that excuse don't work. Oh, they don't give me a chance. Yes, they do. Shouldn't be. I damn sure got a chance and took advantage of it. You know what I mean? And that's what we got to do. They ask me all the time, Coach, do you think you being successful and doing those things open the door for us? No, that door been open. I hope somebody try to follow and do the same thing. That's what I want. The door is open. We can't make no excuses no more for it. So we just got to lock in, persevere, and go get it done. To me, it's that simple. And I would say that this is other thing when it comes to coaching. You know, like I said, I'm always like, again, I'm not here, but I'm one phone call away from helping however I can help. You know what I mean? But somebody said, I was talking to Brian Wader the other day, and he said something to me that kind of hit me a little bit, like growing up, because he was asking me about coaching. And he was like, growing up, and nobody taught us about being a coach. Everybody want to play and go to the league and do those things. And that's just what we brought up on. Just, we got to play football, we got to play basketball, that's how we're going to go to the league and get rich and all that. Now, don't get me wrong, that's good to have, that's good, that's some good motivation. You know, because that money is pretty good, I ain't gonna lie. You know, it's good motivation, but that's not just it. You know what I mean? There's so much more to it. But I do think what Brian was saying about not knowing, I think it's a great time. I mean, everybody can't play football. You know what I mean? There's a lot of young kids out there when we playing youth league football, not gonna play high school football, but it's not good enough. But it might be one hell of a coach. You know what I mean? So, and being a coach is everything. Being a coach is everything. Lives you get changed being a coach. I mean, the people that I've met throughout these years, man, you know, I got so many friends, you know, throughout these years. You know what I mean? So many former players, you can see them grow up and do things. I had one that played for me in South Florida, and he was a jughead, but he was really good. He went to the league. You know, and I didn't know what was going to happen with him. And he hit me up about a week ago and showed me a picture of him being the defensive coordinator of his school. You know, I never thought that he would want to be a coach, but he said, I made an impact on him and what made him want to do that. And I was like, damn, that's what it's all about right there. And I haven't spoken to him in years. And he hit me up with that, you know. But to me, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? And everybody in here, to me, it's important to you. That's why you're here. You know what I mean? If it wasn't important to you, you wouldn't be here. You know, so it's on all of us to make a difference. On all of us. And we all can. You know what I mean? Again, I want to make a difference, and I want to make a difference the right way. You know what I mean? I want to help how we can to make this a difference for all of our youth, not just in Palmetto, but all of them in 941 area, and our coaches and all of us. I want to see the high school coaches and the youth coaches become a lot closer. You know, because that's how it works. The youth got to develop those kids for high school got to develop them for college. You know what I mean? College develop for the pros. That's how it works. And we can all work together to make sure we're doing right by the kids. At the end of the day, that's what we say we're doing. That's why we're all here. You know, we do right by them. So, again, I appreciate you all being out here tonight. Love to see you guys out tomorrow. And I really do plan on this being an annual thing to make it big and better for this area. Like I said, I kind of put this together really quick, but it's important to me that we do this. You know, so it's gonna be bigger and better, and I'm counting on you all to help make it bigger and better. You know what I mean? But this not just I can't do it by myself. I'm gonna say that right now. I can't do it by myself. I got all y'all in here. I'm looking around, counting on all y'all in here to help. You know what I mean? And we can all do it the right way. Good. So appreciate you all, man. I think we got some good speakers coming up tonight, man. And, take some good notes, man, to help you and your team. I won't be around. We can chat ball, we can chat whatever. I mean, I'm here, man, but I really do. I'm saying that I mean this from the bottom of my heart, man. I really do appreciate y'all being out here tonight. It means a lot to me, and it's only gonna get bigger and better. I promise you that. All right, thanks.
Our next speaker is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, and everybody knows him, Tommy Frazer.
Oh boy, this is something I do weekly. I hear other people talk. As Willie said, my career started here, Jackson Park, 1909 Fourth Avenue West. Middle of the street playing sandlot football. That's where it started. I had 3 older brothers I played with. Used to kick my ass. And they're 10, 11 years old, they used to kick my ass, but they made me tough though. And so once I started playing actual football, it was easy. It was easy. But what I want to talk to you guys about is leaders. Okay? And people say leaders. First of all, why did you become a coach? Or why do you want to coach? What's the purpose of a coach? The reason you're coaching is because you want to impact the people, the players that you touch. To give them an opportunity to be better. Okay? So that's what leaders are. And you guys are in this room because you want to be a leader. Okay? So, with that being said, I go around the country speaking with Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Chick-fil-A, Hewlett Packard, all the major companies. And the one thing they have issues with, leaders. Think about that. What I'm going to do for you guys today is take just an abbreviated portion of what I teach billionaires when it comes to being leaders. Because you all are leaders at your positions. Coach Kinnan was a head coach, so he was the CEO of Manatee football when I was there. But then you also had a defensive coordinator who oversaw the defense, you had an offensive coordinator who oversaw the offense. Those are vice presidents. Then you have position coaches. Those are general managers, those are managers. And each one has a role in being a leader. Man gave the offensive coordinator what he wanted to see, and he pushed it down to the coaches. So, with that being said, everyone in here has a responsibility of being a leader to the players you touch. Because it's very important. And there's things that some people say that I agree with, and there's some things I don't agree with. Okay? But one thing I agree with is that players are different today. Okay? They are. But the one thing that they are missing is tough coaching. Because we've gotten to a point in football to where we let kids get away with the little things, the details. Do you think Warren Buffett let his people get away with little details that cost him money? I was just in a meeting with him 2 weeks ago. And his philosophy has always been the same. I hire people that are smarter than me. So when Coach Kinnan hired people, he hired people that were experts at their position, or he wanted them to go out and be experts at the position. Willie said it best. He's still learning. He's been a head coach at 5 universities. He's been at the pinnacle, but he's still learning. I'm still learning football. I I coached Frazer at Baylor University. We weren't very good, but I still coached. And I touched some players because I had to go out and be an expert at my position. I was a head coach of a small, private NAIA school in Crete, Nebraska for 2 years. Now, if you think college football is tough, go try to coach at NAIA school when there's no money. And you try to be leaders in the band because they still want to play the game. So don't let your ego get in the way of the reason why you're there, because you're making an impact on young players. Coach Kinnan made an impact on me. Because the things I learned up under him, I was able to take it to play for what I consider one of the greatest college football coaches in the coach the game, Tom Osborne. Okay? And one thing that they both taught me, being a leader, don't settle for the mistakes of your teammates. Being a quarterback. Okay? How many guys know Mike Graham? Played at Bradenton High School. I know Coach Daniel. Mike Graham was a hell of a quarterback at Bradenton High School in like the late 80s, early 90s. Mike Graham was a starting quarterback in Nebraska. Okay? They recruited me going up there to potentially take his position. That's why they recruited me there. To show you the type of leader that Mike was, Coach Osborne on the offense wasn't the standard odds on even on our right, odds on left. That's how we all talk, that's how we know. His system was 1 through 9 straight across. Think about that. Think about that. You think you can teach your players 1 through 9 straight across the dog? You've been taught evens on right, odds on left? Now I'm a young freshman one day. And I'm in practice, I'm doing good things, but I'm making mistakes on autos. Because if I call an even number, I'm thinking I'm going this way, I'm going the wrong way. Which is what happens? It screws everybody else up. So Mike pulled me aside one day, said, Frazer, come work with you. He said, you the future here. He said, we gotta get you ready because you never know you're gonna be called up. And Mike and I, being the leader he was, knowing that I was there to take his position, spent 2 hours a day, every day after practice, I got it. So you see how important leaders can be anyone on the team. When it starts with the coaches, because I guarantee you, Coach Kirby Gill told Mike, help him. So leadership is important in all facets of football, all facets of business, all facets of sports. The question is, what kind of leader do you want to be? Stop making excuses. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. I call back here, I hear things going back here. I asked why the Town Eagles not there anymore. I asked why the Broncos aren't there anymore. What's going on? Why come all this? It's because the leaders in the community don't want to come together to do what's right for the players in this community. I started with the Town Eagles. Then I went across the border and played with Manatee Broncos. 2 different programs, but they both taught me something. Why? Because the people that were leading the programs at that time. Now, there was some animosity that Tyrone Williams and myself and a couple of guys were over playing Manatee Broncos. But we did what we felt was best for us at the time. But we felt that we had already reached our pinnacle over here, but we saw where we wanted to go. And we saw what they were doing over there, we saw the coaching and we truly get it. So what I'm trying to say, invest in yourselves to become a great leader. Because you become a leader for men, women, when you coach basketball, too. Leaders are the most important thing. And then what you also do is help your players lead. The quarterback should always be the leader on the offense. Always. Use the linebacker, someone is always leader on defense. That's how you kind of want it. But anybody can be a leader. Because there's 3 types of leaders. There's one that just go out there and just play their butts off. Then there's one that get around the middle by talking. But the one that I was, I talked, barked, but I performed. I went out and showed you. And everyone has a place. Sometimes as leaders of a team, you gotta let guys be their personality sometimes. You might like how they walk, like how they carry themselves. But the way you control that, about forcing them to do things right every time. Now, I promise you guys, if you do that, your program's gonna go up. Program grow up. And collaborate. People hate collaborating. They think they know everything. They think they know everything. You don't. You don't know everything. Because football is changing, coaching techniques are changing, offenses are changing, how they're doing things. But good leaders realize and see that and go try to find, how can I make my staff better? How can I make my players better? If I don't worry about coach, how can I teach them a drill to make them be successful on the football field? Because what I'm teaching right now is kind of outdated. Teams that got smarter how to attack certain things. But there's always someone coming bright mind that figures it out. Just like Coach Man said, well, we didn't want to do West Coast, so we did the Gulf Coast. Which was what he changed some things, and we saw the success there. Osborne ranked up the veer option. Then he went to the I formation. Then he went to the power I. Then he started throwing some shotgun in there. He used to run a 5-2 defense for his whole career. 1993, 1993, he changed to a 4-3. He didn't want to go on the line. Because he got tired of getting beat by the Florida Steelers in 4-3. He's got to work the 4-3 schemes. Because they had better and faster players on the field. So you gotta adapt, you gotta evolve. That's what leaders do. They don't stay complacent. And the final thing I'm gonna say to you guys, coaching is a privilege. It's not a right. Let that sink in. Coaching is a privilege, not a right. And here's why I say it's a privilege. Because you got allow your kids to come work with you for 2-3 hours a day. Trust that you're gonna make them better. Trust that you're in a position to be successful. As a leader of those young men, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do to make them better, then why are you doing it? So lead by example. And if you do that, I promise you guys, your coaching career is gonna go skyrocket. Whether you want to stay here, whether you want your own team, whether you want to coach in high school, whether you want to coach in college, whether you want to coach in the pros. I decided to get out of coaching. My personality couldn't handle the kids today because I'm old school. I'm an old school coach and I'm going to get in your face when you're doing something wrong. I'm going to be the first person to pat you on the back when you do something right. But kids can't handle being told they're doing something wrong. Why? Because it's all they hear now. I travel the United States talking to little league football teams, and the ones that are successful, the coach will coach them, they're saying on the chest bump them, or hey, wait a minute, hold on, don't step here. I said 16 step, do a 16 step, not a 10 step. It's the little things that makes a difference. It's little things that you earn trust and confidence from your players because they're seeing that you're trying to help them. How many times have you accepted one of your players to make the same mistake over and over? If you're supposed to run a 5-yard out, they run 7 yards at a time. How many of you guys said that? Go ahead, raise your hand because y'all have. And when you say you're doing something wrong, what happens? Then you have to show them why we say 5 yards, because it's all time versus 7 yards. Why is it a 3-step drop instead of a 5-step drop? Why linebacker, you go in cover 3, it's a 45-degree angle, not a 52. You know, so there's stuff like that. And once you tell them and show them, now their confidence, trust believes in you because now you're helping them be successful. And that's all any kid wants to do, be successful. Not every kid is going to go and do great things in football. I'm one of them. My dream is to play NFL. Injuries stop me. But what I've learned from sports is what I'm teaching to billionaires now. And that's what's most important about it because you got guys in this room that play in the NFL. Ask them what they're doing now at the age when they start playing the game. I started at 26. But I promise you I've been happy. I'm 51 now, the last 25 years of my life because I'm able to go back and give and teach leadership to high school coaches, college coaches, billionaires, CEOs, who don't matter. Because they all struggle with leadership. Because everyone thinks they know everything, but you don't. Until you figure that out as a coaching staff, as a team, as a program, then you're not going to be great. Because the one thing about championship teams, one thing I always say, look, Thank you.
So now I'd like to introduce to you Joe Kinnan.
When you get older, you gotta go up the steps. You can't sit right there. You don't have the ability to do that anymore. Listening to Willie, I think you can see why he's been so successful. You know, because of his beliefs and actually, you know, the way he approaches everything. And I think that's great of him wanting to give back to the community. I myself have been very fortunate that I've had some great mentors in my life, and that's the reason I went into coaching, was because some of the people that influenced me that were coaches. So, you know, I didn't go into education to be a teacher, even though I was a teacher on the football field. I went into, you know, because I wanted to coach football. There's a couple things I want to talk to you about tonight, and I've been in a lot of clinics over the years, have spoken to some, and a lot of times been, you know, sat up in the front row with Bill Castle from Lakeland and Paul Meckley from Southeast, and you know, we were there, you know, taking notes and listening and trying to learn. But hopefully, when you go to a clinic, you can do what I call get something to take home. And I'm hoping that maybe tonight I can give you at least one little thing that maybe, hey, that, you know, I like that, that may work, or that may not work. Or you may be convinced, well, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and what I'm doing's better anyway, so the heck with that. So I think that's important. But I wanted to start by talking just briefly about my philosophy. In 1981, just came back to Manatee High School. I had just finished coaching for 10 years in college. And I decided to return home. I got tired of coming to Florida, recruiting, and going back up north in the cold and the snow. And we look at this year, I mean, it was cold down here, but you know, when you look at the map, it's pretty nice in Florida compared to the other places. And before I came back, I decided I needed to sit down and put down what my coaching philosophy is, because I honestly believe there's two approaches you have to take. One is a coaching philosophy, and I wrote down 10 items that I believed in, okay? This has nothing to do with X's and O's, offense, defense, kicking game, none of that. It's what you believe in. And then you have a football philosophy, and that philosophy, that's your X's and O's. That changes every year a little bit. You continue to evolve in there, but your coaching philosophy, you're zeroed in, and that's what it is. And that was the first page of our playbook that I gave our coaches. We didn't give players the playbooks. We figured they probably wouldn't read them anyway, so we had to teach them out on the field. But here's our last state championship. There's the front page, and there it is, my 10 principles. And that's almost identical. I cleaned up the language a little more. My wife was an English teacher. She corrected me, and so from when I first wrote it, we changed it a little bit. And some other stuff on the front as far as general coaching duties, thoughts on coach-player relationships, and then my responsibilities as a head coach, and then each assistant, how I divided and broke up what their responsibilities individual would be. And that was every year. About the only thing that would change would be back here, as if we had a new coach or somebody left and we had to replace somebody. But I'm just going to briefly touch on these, and I'm going to go into a little bit about X's and O's. First thing, positive approach. Kids have got to do something right. Don't always be, and this is probably the hardest thing that we had to do, that I had to change and learn how to do, is to be positive when you're coaching. Most coaches coach negatively. You know, they're continually telling, you know, the kid, you know, you didn't do it right. You got to do it, you know, all this. Find something good that they did and point that out. Don't just always break them down and say, hey, that's not good enough. And then number two, believe in what you're doing, and you got to sell them. You sell them on your X's and O's and how you're going to treat them and things like this. So you gotta believe in what you're doing. Number 3, enthusiasm. It's not taught, it's caught. You coaches have to be enthusiastic. And I was fortunate, I had some great assistant coaches, but there was old ones, young ones, yellers, quiet ones. I wanted a lot of different personalities on my staff because my players all had different personalities. So that worked out great. And many of my coaches coached with me, basically their entire career. So when I came in 81, there were been 6 assistant coaches at Manatee. I kept all 6. I brought one coach in with me, Danny Hope, who played for me in Eastern Kentucky. Later on, became the head coach of Purdue. But he was an offensive line coach. But other than him, I kept the other people because they were good people. And I had a principal tell me, who had been my position coach when I was a player, I think you got some good coaches here, even though they had a 4-6 record. We ended up going to the playoffs and going 9-1 the first year. But they had the ability to do it. It was my job to point them in the right direction and let them coach. Okay, number 4, utilize your time. Do not spend it unwisely. Invest your time. We probably at Manatee practice less on the field than any high school in the state of Florida. We have hardly ever practiced over 2 hours, ever. We were going to make the most of the time that the kids were there, but it was going to be an intense 2 hours that we put in. Number 5, tempo. That's important in practice. Make sure that you have them practice with the right effort. Instead of, I remember going out when I coached in college, and you watch different programs, and the successful ones, the kids were on task doing stuff. A lot of the other ones, there was one drill going on, and there's the whole team standing around or sitting on the ground watching what's going on. So it was not very good. Repetition. That's not that important if they're not good repetitions. That's number 6. So make sure the repetition is quality repetition. It's not a good idea just to have, hey, we're going to go through it and get it done, but no, we're going to get it done right. Number 7, competition, as Willie was saying, breeds concentration. When you're able to compete, and in some instances you have certain players, they're so much better than the other ones, they have no competition. So you as a coach have to go out, you got to be the competition to challenge that player to become better. So that's your responsibility. Number 8, strive to eliminate mental errors. Usually, the team that makes the fewest mistakes wins. The same thing still wins in football. Blocking, tackling, ball security, no mental mistakes, those type of things. Number 9, never physically abuse a player. A good friend of mine actually lost his job in South Florida as the head coach because of that situation. And you want to treat him like you want your son treated. And number 10, championships are decided on little things. Everybody does the big things well. The champions do all the little things well. So have attention to detail. Now, that's my coaching philosophy. What I want to discuss now is a little bit is about, if the play's going to the right, and we're a zone team, I am responsible for my gap to the play side. It's real simple. And what we try and do is get double teams where possible and work from down lineman to the linebacker. That's what we try and do. Where we combo, they made up together and work. What's good about this, if they're a team that moves their front, you may not be in a single block, but then as long as you stay on your track, you have a great possibility of doing the right thing. Don't chase the people. You're like you're on railroad tracks as you're going off. So that's in our zone scheme. So we work onside gap to play side linebacker. On our gap scheme, the front side people, they work inside gap to backside linebacker. And then we compensate by changing responsibilities with the guard, or a guard and an H-back, or the guard and a tackle, being the ones that are the pullers that replace or we read or don't read. And I'll be around if you have any questions anymore, but it's really quite simple. And if you watch the NFL now today, I mean, they are pulling everybody. Now, we didn't pull the center, but probably had I hung around a few more years, we'd have been pulling the center, because we didn't hide a kid at center. We put a good athlete at center. We had Pat Klein, who was a high draft pick in baseball, that played professional baseball, made first team All-State. It was picked for the Florida Georgia game in football, was the center. I had a kid in Eastern Kentucky that ran a 4.640 and had a 37-inch vertical jump. It was 6'3", about 230, and the Pittsburgh Steelers signed him as a defensive player. But he was my center in one of my early years there. I didn't recruit him, but he was already there, so he was a good one. But we tried to put that, and you watch, based on where people apply, a lot of times now, instead of pulling the backside guard or the front side guard, they may end up pulling the center. And so the concept is really quite simple, that if you're going to be blocking people down, then you're going to pull somebody to replace that area from where you're blocking down from. Okay, it's real simple. And that's when you're trapping and you're gapping, that concept. Zone, doesn't matter, we're just going to come off the ball. And what it does, it allows your offensive linemen to not have to worry about it. They can stay on track and get the job done. Thank you.